One of the biggest changes I've made to my SEO strategy in 2024 is the types of businesses I'm building. As we know that affiliate, it still works, but it's not the golden era it used to be. While on the other hand, while bricks and mortar has many advantages, you don't really want the whole process of actually buying, say, a cleaners, a car wash or something like that, staffing it, etc. So I'm really looking for businesses which still operate like a bricks and mortar business, but don't have the same kinds of overheads. So we're basically talking about e-commerce where you handle the product very little, but there is still an element of ownership there. It still may well pass through your hands. It's not drop shipping. It's not affiliate. It's something that really can't be replaced. It's still very much your product, so that any future generative search, whether it's Bard, Gemini, whatever, or even our current Google search, there's no third parties involved. It's still very much your website. You're taking the lead on the form on the front end. Therefore, of all the people searching for that product or service, you're still going to be recommended number one because you are the provider of that product or service. So I'm rambling quite a lot, but the key shift I'm talking is basically being a market maker. In other words, stop selling with SEO and start buying with SEO. And no one is really doing this. So basically, we want to identify opportunities to buy and sell with low competition. We achieve that using exact match domains, location pages, and brand pages using basic AI content. Most of these are very low competition. Then we want to power up those pages with citations, press releases, and high quality backlinks. And we're basically aiming to build a bricks and mortar style business, but one where we don't actually have to build a bricks and mortar business, but it's a lot more real and tangible than drop shipping, affiliate, or even lead gen a lot of the time. So again, you probably still don't understand what I mean. One of the first times I encountered this type of model was the motivated sellers niche, or sell my house fast. So basically the way this works is obviously thousands, maybe millions of people every year facing situations where they need to sell their house quickly. It can be forced, like gambling debt, something like that, credit cards, or it could just be more of a convenience thing. So a relative has died, something like that. Now, selling a house, ideally, you want the market rate where probably going to wait a good few couple of months, especially in the high interest rate environment we're in at the moment. But that's not good enough if you need to liquidate that asset really quickly. Now, of course, real estate investors absolutely love these opportunities because they can buy with cash, no mortgage, anything like that, and therefore get a preferential deal. The only issue is that as those deals are quite hard to come by. So we've got demand on actually both sides of the scales here. On one hand, we've got people with debt needing a fast house sale who are willing to accept a discount in order to get cash quickly. And on the other side, we have cash investors who just need to find those deals. Now, the beautiful thing about this model is it's very high value, but not actually that competitive. So I'm always saying this, if you're trying to rank for top 10 lawnmowers with the traditional affiliate model, for one thing, you'll have big authority sites that have been doing this for years in the way. And now we've also got Forbes, Men's Health, Business Insider, all of those competing as well. Whereas as soon as you go into these more niche topics where they tend to be high value, and also, like I say, you're buying rather than selling, suddenly the competition is really low. So let's just take the example of Sell House Fast Houston. So 300 searches per month, very high CPC of $19, traffic potential of $1,100, because it's not just Sell House Fast Houston, it's Sell My House, it's Sell Home Fast, Sell Houses Fast, How to Sell a House Fast for Cash, all of those. But even with that modifier of fast, we've still got this very high volume. So if we scroll down, let's see how competitive it is. Now, yes, we do have paid ads at the top. That is a shame. But as we know, most people actually skip past the ads because they're never quite as relevant as the organic results. And you generally find in any niche, doesn't matter how many ads there are or how high or low volume the search is, generally you will still get traffic from the organic. Then we have the map pack. Now, this is both a blessing and a curse. If you are actually in one of these locations, so if you're in Houston, you can use your own home address or office address and very easily verify your Google business listing. This becomes a real pain if you're trying to operate remotely and operate loads of locations where you don't actually have a presence. That's when you get into the whole verified listing market where loads of SEOs all the time are trying different techniques to actually get Google business profiles verified, but it's extremely difficult. It's always changing. I've heard theories like if you go onto the maps and you find an office that's on a yellow road and there's a business there that's recently shut down, then if you go for that one, you can get that verified quite easily. There's also a belief that if you just pick an address like that and then start building citations, so your listings in local business directories, which for one thing are great for links, but they're also great for Google business profiles because they just verify to Google that your name, address, and phone number has been distributed across all these platforms and is therefore legitimate. The theory is, if you build your citations first, then go to verify your Google business profile, then you'll be automatically approved. But this is changing all the time. SEO is changing all the time. But when I listen to my colleagues who really specialize in Google business profiles, this seems the most volatile market, partly because it's so high value, because as you can see, Google Maps, Local Pack, they get the prime position right at the top of results. And actually, if we look at these reviews, we've got 26 reviews, 13 reviews, and 31 reviews. This is not a competitive niche. So if you are able to get a Google Business Profile verified, then this is really easy. I'm told actually buying reviews, you need really good quality Google Business Listing reviews. Doesn't work as well as it used to, but it is still very powerful. So the main tricks to ranking on the map pack are citations. So getting that address on as many websites as possible. You can include it in your press releases as well, and that also counts as a citation. Getting reviews which don't specifically mention the keyword. Instead, you want the kind of LSI variations on the keyword. And those reviews should come from good quality verified accounts. So I've got colleagues who do this kind of like what I've been doing with Reddit, buying proxies, aged accounts, and that sort of thing to look like real users. But for the Google business stuff, they'll go even further. They'll use software to actually make these Google profiles look really real. So they'll subscribe them to newsletters. They will put them on the phones and actually physically carry them around the country and use software, just basically bots on those IP addresses, just to show the user interacting, watching YouTube videos, things like that, everything to appear legitimate. So what a lot of faff, but that is how powerful reviews are. But of course, in this niche, you really don't need that many. So yes, you could buy them, but even better, if you can start getting some deal flow in, and then just make sure your customers leave you reviews, and that will be very powerful. And then the other ranking factor for Local Pack is CTR manipulation, in particular branded CTR. So rather than just sell my house fast Houston every time, search for the actual business name using a tool like the CTR booster that I've linked to below. So Home Buyers Houston, that's the brand, or We Buy Houses Houston, that's the brand. TX Cash Home Buyers. You can set the location in CTR booster to be that city, and then that's the combination that'll push you up the Google Maps. But this only really applies if you can actually get it verified. Different parts of the world have different levels of vigilance when it comes to verifying Google business profiles. So I've seen people in places like Malaysia where they'll do things like literally just print out an A4 business sign, basically, put it between two pieces of plastic, and then sort of blue tack that to a brick wall, and they will get the video verification, and they'll say, yep, look, here's our business name on the wall, even though it's just been printed out 10 minutes ago. I've seen different tiers, different levels of doing this, through to creating almost like proper billboards and shop signage just to look like proper business. So mad stuff. But the US is definitely the hardest, and especially in niches like this. But if we just ignore that, let's come down to the organic results, because what I really want to talk about here is competition and why buying is better than selling with SEO. So if we come down here, Houston Capital Home Buyers have got a good exact match domain. They're only a DR of 22. That's really not very high, so you don't need many backlinks. And they're getting 1,900 visitors per month with a value of $24,000. That Houston Sell My House Fast for Cash gets 1,400 visitors per month. If we come down here, we have a DR of 12 that's getting 1,500 visitors per month. So good ahead, we've got 40, 35. Now we're on to the 58, then 11. So this is unlike most search results where you see all these DR 60s and 70s for all those affiliate roundups. Now, I know what you're thinking, am I going to actually buy all these houses? No, there's basically, all you have to really do is reach out to a few real estate investors and basically set up a partnership where you get a revenue share from the deals they get. But some people are now basically building whole scaled systems where they're going out and getting huge pools of investors. And again, they're being a market maker where they'll basically get the investors and they'll get the lead generators. And basically the lead generators can potentially get $300, $400, $500 per sale there. So I take that any day. Ranking a site that's a DR of 12, getting 1,500 high intent visitors. So if only 10% of those actually go through, that's 150 deals per month. So if we take a conservative estimate of $200 per deal, what's that? 150 times 200. So that's a $30,000 per month business from one web page. So like I say, that'd be a case of get an exact match domain. We can see those ranking really well on the search result. So that's a domain name that says We Buy Houses Houston, Houston Home Buyers, Sell House Fast Houston, something like that. Then there's always the potential, if you do your competitor research, there might be other locations to mention, individual neighborhoods, other towns, or you could do a national site and do loads of different cities. You could do mass programmatic AI sites that way. Not so much with this niche, but you've also got brands. We'll come on to that in a minute. And this can all be done with AI content. That's absolutely fine. Plain ChatGPT will do. Although I do recommend optimizing it with entities using a tool like Surfer, all the tools below. Then off-page citations, press release, high-quality backlinks. Probably best to throw in some CTR manipulation in there as well, because why not? That's one of my favorite tips to get an edge over your competition using this very advanced strategy. Again, there's a link below. And not even relevant to this case, but build a bricks and mortar style stack. So you basically want a lead form in the front end, and you need a pool of investors or a market maker who can get those investors for you. Nice and simple. Now, the next example of this kind of business I found was the diabetic test strips. So sell diabetic test strips gets 1,200 searches per month. This is much lower ticket than houses, obviously, but still very interesting. A number one result is a DR of 8, and they're getting 10,000 searches per month. Then we've got a DR of 3, getting 6,000 visitors per month. And we've got someone doing parasite SEO here with a LinkedIn article. They're still getting 74 visitors per month. So not the highest ticket niche at all, but there's certainly some volume there. And I've heard of people doing this basically just as a side hustle, where basically, I believe the way it works is, I'm obviously not in the US, but I believe the idea is you can only really get these on a prescription, and I think there might be expense associated that with it as well. And loads of people have spares. So it's a common side hustle. You can sell your spares and other people can buy them slightly shady off market and pay a premium that way. So again, just supply and demand. You've got people with spares who want a bit more cash and willing buyers ready to buy them, but you can't go through the standard route to get them. You can't just go to the pharmacy. You've got to go and find a website. Now, finally, I really came across this one today. You may have already noticed from my channel that I have that kind of 12-year-old child habit of getting very fixated on a certain topic for a couple of weeks and then quite quickly moving on. And at the moment, it's watches, specifically luxury watches, where my various revenue streams are doing very well. So I'm looking forward to celebrating that win in the near future when I hit a certain milestone by getting a luxury watch, probably a Rolex, partly because I've been gawping at them through shop windows as the original James Bond watch since I was about 15 or so, always thinking, how on earth can anyone afford these? And now, more than 10 years later, suddenly it's finally becoming feasible, and I want to celebrate that. Not forgetting I'm a marketing guru on YouTube, therefore it is apparently essential that I have a fancy watch that I'll flex about and flash. Don't forget to buy my course. Now, what I would like about the luxury watch niche is it's basically the same as Sell My House Fast niche. It's still quite high ticket, but not as high ticket. I can't just tomorrow buy a load of houses and do my own inventory, whereas watches, it's still high ticket. It's not like diabetic test strips. We're basically talking about buying watches for 5 to 10 grand and selling them for 10 to 15 grand potentially. And that's the kind of money that's actually worth dealing with, even though you're only making a markup of maybe 30 to 50%, something like that. I don't know this market. I'm probably wrong. But even then, even the small markup on these watches is still significant when you're dealing with $10,000, $20,000 watches. And the great thing about this is we're building into the scarcity markets of this industry. So I've been to the Rolex store. They've got this very clever marketing tactic, always have done, where basically they will not sell you the watch you want. You've got to register as a client and get a more attainable, achievable watch, cultivate some loyalty with them before they'll put you on the waiting list for the one you actually want. Porsche do the same thing. If you want a GT3 RS, then you've got to work on it. When I was in LA the other week, I went to the Peterson Motor Museum and of course saw the LaFerrari. And hypothetically, I thought, what would it take potentially to own one? And aside from lots of cash, they said a highly exclusive waiting list and basically based on who are the most loyal Ferrari customers. So there are loads of markets like this where basically the system is you actually have to buy a lot of stuff you don't want before you get what you do want. And so because of that, it's a very strong secondary market. So it's no wonder there's 1,500 searches per month for Sell My Rolex on the grounds that never mind people wanting to just get cash back, but there's also partly to do with the fact that people do get forced to buy watches they don't really value that much because you need to buy 3 or 4 before you get the one you want. Now, you're not allowed to flip it immediately. You've got to hold on to it for a minimum period of time because that defeats Rolex's whole system of cultivating scarcity and desirability. But ultimately, people are being encouraged to buy more Rolexes than they need. And so it's no wonder there's a good secondary market. And of course, we get into the usual story of there's always unplanned financial crises. And so people do need to get some fast cash, and selling your watch is a perfectly good way to do that. It's much more liquid than your house, for instance. So if we come down here, bear in mind I'm searching in the UK, but it doesn't really matter. Sell My Rolex watch in the UK, only a DR of 35, and they've got 1,900 searches per month. If we come down here, watches.co.uk, DR of 28, 678. Then we have the local pack, and then we've even got a DR of 3 that's getting 800 visitors per month. So the methodology here, obviously you would have to do some research and make sure you actually know about watches, that you don't get a load of fakes coming through your letterbox. But the basic idea is Rank for Sell My Rolex, Patek Philippe, Tag Heuer, all of those. Get people to sell you their watches at a significant discount, and then basically be a traditional dealer. Sell it for more than market rate, hold on, wait for the right buyer, and on these $10,000, $20,000 pieces, you can obviously get a very good return on those. Just this morning, I've seen loads of people on YouTube talking about how they built this multi-million-dollar watch business really quite easily within a year or two. So big opportunity there. Rank for all the people who are trying to sell their watch, and then rank for alternatives for people looking to buy a watch. Nice and simple. And I'll just leave you with the final consideration. Another way I'm looking at this is actually buying businesses as well. So I've got a few projects where I'm trying to rank for Sell My Business Fast, where you can basically rank for all these individual industries. So sell my cleaning business fast, sell my dental business fast, things like that. And this is basically because, again, I want to use that arbitrage where down the line, I am looking to buy more businesses. But I don't want to pay retail. I want to get a discount. And ideally, I don't want to go through a middleman that's also going to cost money. So just on a back burner, if I can very passively rank for these kind of terms, and then suddenly I get emails in my inbox saying, I'm looking to sell my business in the near future. Are you interested? Then again, I can get really good top tier access to off-market deals for a great price. So as with all SEO, just rewards thinking outside the box. Very few people are actually using SEO like this. They're always doing buy my stuff, buy my stuff. Very few people are actually doing sell me your stuff for a discount. So all great business is just arbitrage. And this is the ultimate arbitrage for SEO.